What's going on, guys? It's Greg with Tech 360, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about working in a prison.
Good morning, sir.
Alright, guys, first and foremost, I want to thank you for clicking on this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click that little notification button over there so you can stay updated on what I post, because I post a little bit of everything, so forth, a little bit of everything. So this is more of an informational and kind of a continuance of another video I made about a year ago now, on working in a prison and things to expect when going into a prison. Now, I seen this video that another guy had made. If I find him, I'll put a link in my description box so you can go check out his channel as well. But this video is going to be, I'm going to list off 5 types of COs that you're going to run into while working in a prison, because you're going to get all types, So 1, this guy called the big man, or the hard ass, or just whatever you want to call him. Okay, this is the guy that you really want to kind of be careful with is when you work with this kind of guy, because these are the guys that went through high school, or junior high, whatever, and been picked on most of their life, for whatever reason they may have been, and or they've been like an only child or something like that. And now they get like a little position of authority, and they want to abuse it. They want to walk into a pod or whatever and just start hollering and screaming and demanding things from inmates. Okay, these inmates are not going to respect this officer. Okay, and if you're working with this officer, they're probably not going to respect you either, because you're going to be working with them. They're already going to be in a foul mood because of this guy. Okay, these are the ones that he's going to go in there and he's going to start tearing cells up. He's going to start searching everybody. He's going to just start nitpicking everybody, just to throw his weight around. So if you can avoid that kind of person, because that'll make for a long night or a long day for you. The next one is going to be the by the book guy. Okay, now the by the book guy, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can use them like when you're writing cases or disciplinaries and stuff like that, because they'll probably know more because they studied more on it. But the by the book guy, it's hard to explain, because you can learn by a book and you can learn step by step what to do in certain situations, wherever it may be in there. But you have to use your common sense when you get in there. You can't go in there, and because by the book kind of makes you a hard ass as well, in a sense. And you don't want to go in there going by the book towards inmates, because they're not going to like you for that either. Okay, these inmates, they're already in there. Their lives are already hard enough as it is, that they don't need a CO coming in here making things worse. Okay, by the book guys, you'll recognize them, I promise you, because you'll suggest something like, oh no, because in training, remember, we this and we that. Okay, never mind. Those guys aren't the worst to work with, but I personally wouldn't choose to work with that guy. 3, this is going to be the most common one. These are the lazy ones. Okay, you are definitely going to run into these. These are the ones that'll show up at 6 o'clock. Okay, when I first started, it was at night. Okay, I work nights, so 6 to 6, or 6 to 6:30, sorry. And these are the ones that they'll come in at 6 in the evening, and they'll come in there, and we'll go through briefing and such, whatever, blah blah blah, and then we get paired with one of them, and then we go work. So, it'll be like because ours, it was like 6 hours. We would rotate out. Like one officer would start in the picket for 6 hours. The other guy would be a rover for 6 hours. And after 6 hours, we'd swap. Okay. Well, after 6 hours, they don't want to swap, because they're all kicked back in there. They're all sleeping. Most of the time they will. They'll sleep and they'll snooze all night long. Half of them won't get up and do their counts. They'll count every hour, and fire watches every 30 minutes. A count is basically when you go through, and you have to go through you go pretty much into every cell, shine your light in there, make sure they're both in there, make sure they're not doing nothing they're not supposed to be doing. There's a lot of things that they're not supposed to do, just put it that way. And then a fire watch is kind of similar to the same thing, because the counts, you have to have a sheet and you have to mark how many people are in each cell, are they top or bottom, so forth and so on. A fire watch, you're just breezing through there and kind of watching. You're looking through the windows, make sure they're not starting no fires in there, doing nothing stupid as well. So, and these guys, these lazy ones, are not going to help you with that. They're just going to hang out. And if they do come out of the picket, they're just going to sit out and, basically in the hall and just kind of just chill, not do nothing, and sleep out there. Or just hang out in the sally port, and they're not going to go nowhere, and they're not going to do much. So those guys, those will make a long night for you because you will be stuck doing most of the work. You'll be doing most of the paperwork. They won't do any paperwork. They won't write down none of their fire watches, none of their counts, none of the stuff like that. So those are other kind of guys you definitely want to avoid. Sometimes you can't. You just get put with them and you have to deal with it. Those are the ones, and after about 2 or 3 weeks of working, you'll figure out how everybody works. And then the ones that are beneficial are the ones that have been there more than like 4 to 5 years and up. The longer the better. These are the older guys that have been there a long time. These guys you want to listen to because they'll teach you stuff. They know the ins and outs of that prison. They know how these inmates operate. They know how they function, how they think. Okay, when you go down to D-pod or whatever it may be, however your prison's laid out, watch out for this pod because these pods they're kind of rowdy, and don't do this because this kind of stirs them up. Oh, this pod over here, they're pretty cool, but watch what you say because it's this group of inmates in there. So they'll teach you more about their rules and things you can and can't do, because once you realize when you work in a prison, the inmates end up having more freedoms and privileges than you do while you're in there. So while you're in there for those 12 hours, you're might as well be an inmate because, like I said, you can do less. You can do less than what the inmates can. So, your older officers are the ones that you want to kind of hang with, talk with. Those are usually like your sergeants, your lieutenants, captains, and stuff like that. And a lot of them, and one I worked at, we had a captain. She was a cool lady. She really was, man. I liked her. I thought she was pretty cool. But she stepped down. She stepped down as a captain, and she went to work in a different department of the prison that didn't have to do with corrections. And it's not that it was a bad job. It was just, maybe it was just something that wasn't for her, that she didn't like. Certain things that she had to do, because as a captain, you take on a lot of responsibility, and maybe it's just something she didn't want to do, But like I said, hang out with the older guys, the ones that have been there the longest. They'll usually tell you right. They'll try to help you out and such. 5. Okay, these I call ghosts. Not goats, not goats. Ghosts. These are the ones that will show up. You go on post, you get in your picket, shut the door. Once that door's shut, it's shut. Okay. And usually that door is not to be opened unless your sally port is clear, and all doors are shut from the pod, so no inmates can get out in that sally port while that picket door is open. If you get caught with that picket door is open, or that picket door open while an inmate is in that sally port, get ready. Get ready, because if a captain, lieutenant, sergeant, or anything like that catches you with it, they're not gonna be happy. So don't do that. But the ghosts are the ones that'll show up. They'll show up at 6 o'clock. They'll show up, boy. They act like they just gonna do everything. They're gonna work. They're gonna whatever. You get in that picket, shut that door. You don't see nothing of them the rest of the night until it comes around to maybe count time or fire watch. Sometimes fire watches they'll come back. Most time they won't, because fire watch is not as serious, and it's not something that the captains or sergeants or anything like that are waiting for you to report back on. It's just something you write down in your book once it's done. But usually they'll come back around on counts. But basically they'll come in, they'll set their stuff down in the picket, they'll step out, and they go out in the hallway. They're not in the sally port, they're not in the pods walking like they're supposed to. They'll disappear. They may go into the bathrooms, the employee bathrooms, and they may kick back and go to sleep. Or they may go down the hall to another set of pods, and they go hang out with those COs over there. Maybe hang out with that picket officer, go chill out in there, or go hang out with somebody else. I get it, you get bored at times. It does get boring at night, and you do want to kind of socialize and mingle, but at least stay in eye view, stay in a field of view of your picket officer, because you never know what's going on in that picket, and maybe his radio's dead and he can't get a hold of you. You want to make sure you can, if you are gone, I understand you're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to be out of his vision, okay, or line of sight. That's going to happen, but you want to stay in your picket officer's vision so he can see you and you can see them. But like I said, these ghosts, they'll disappear. They'll disappear on you. You won't see them most of the night. They'll be gone. It's just, those are the ones that you don't really want to work with either, because a lot of times if you have to go to the bathroom in that 6 hours, you're trying to get a hold of your rover and he's disappeared or she's disappeared, you're stuck in there. You're going to have to hold it, until you catch them walking by or something and try to flash a flashlight, get their attention or something like that. And even then, they're going to talk crap at you while you go in there and do your business. So, and then there's going to be the female officers, okay? Female officers, most of them are pretty cool. There were a few that I worked with that were kind of like I was talking about, kind of like the big man, I guess they felt inferior or whatever it may be, so they had to do a little extra. Now, women usually have to, and I say that because if you walk into like an all-male prison, like where I worked, you walk into an all-male prison as a woman, as a female officer, they're already not going to take you seriously. They're going to start trying to talk to you, and it's called manipulation. You'll learn about it through your training. You'll learn what to look for. You'll learn personality differences. You'll learn how to talk to them to divert a conversation or to get stuff out of them. You learn these things in time. But these inmates, they'll start talking to them and talking to them and trying to figure them out. And some female officers, they'll shut it down right then. They'll shut it down. Some of them go as far as even, write a disciplinary for trying to establish a relationship with an officer. Most of the time, those don't really go that far, but sometimes they do. But most female officers, though, there's not a whole lot of them where I worked that were on the floor. Most of them were, it was about equal. There were some on the floor. Some worked up in Central, which is basically just a box that has buttons that controls every door in this prison. She sits in there and she watches these huge computer monitor or TV monitors, and they're nothing but just squares of cameras. And there's probably about 150 of them on there, if not more, depending on where you're going or going to work at. And that's all they do. And they watch every door in there. When somebody walks up to it, like an employee, okay, he can go out this door. And they hit that little button and it opens the doors up. They wait and they hit it and close it back. They do that kind of stuff. They're more kind of, like in sergeant's offices and stuff like that. Usually, most places, they don't put women in CO positions. That's going to put them pretty much on the front line of being able to get hurt. Because some women, not all of them, some women are easy to take over, and they're easy to take over. Now, another issue you'll deal with, which I dealt with it at ours, no, not me personally, but I was working there while this happened a lot. You're going to have those female officers that are going to be talking to inmates. And they're talking to them when you pay attention to them, because they may go out, oh, hey, keep an eye on me or whatever, or don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm going to go see what's going on over here in J-Pod or something like that. I'm going to go see what's going on over here. But if you keep watching them, sometimes they'll keep passing by the same cell. They may go back over here, and they may come back by. They'll stop and pause for a minute, and they'll keep on going. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're going by, and the inmates sitting at the door talking through the crack at the officer, and they may be passing something on the door, stuff like that. But you're always supposed to keep your eye on your officer anyway when they're out roaming. And you'll watch them, and sometimes and it's kind of one of those tough situations, because when a female officer is talking to an inmate, not just like, oh, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, that's right, you were in here, I was out there. Not like that. I'm talking like, when the inmates finally get in their head. They finally get in their head and start talking about, oh, girl, what I do with you when we get out of here. We ought to hook up, when we get out and all this, come on, girl, and all that. Eventually, it's sometimes, not all women, but some of them, it will get in their head, and they're able to manipulate them into feeding into them. So this is where it creates a problem, because when you see that, you have to report it to your sergeant, captain, or whoever's working on that shift that's above you. But the thing is, once you do report it, then you become the snitch. Nobody wants to work with you. Everybody's going to start lying on you and trying to get you fired because nobody wants a snitch, and or nobody wants to work with one. So it's kind of a catch-22. You lose either way. You can tell on them or not tell on them. Now, if you don't tell on them now, and if it does all come out in the wash that all this was going on, and she rolls on you like, oh, well, he was working in the picket. He saw me over there. So, he knew what I was doing. He told me, hey, blah, blah, blah. That's where you can get fired as well. She'll get fired. You'll get fired. So it's kind of, like I said, it's a catch-22. If you tell on them, you're labeled as a snitch. Nobody wants to work on you. If you don't tell on them and everybody finds out about it, and major catches wind of it or something like that, the warden, now you both get fired because you didn't say nothing. So, like I said, those are like my 5. There's kind of partially 6 people you don't want to work with, or you may want to work with, and kind of explaining a little odds and ends things. I don't know if it was helpful or not. I hope it was. Maybe just a little more insight of things that you usually don't hear about. If you want more videos about prison stuff, just comment below. Let me know, ask some questions or something. Hey, can you make me a video of this? Hey, can you make me a video of that? Or can you just make a video explaining more about this? Or how does this work in there? And how does that work? Like I said, drop a message, man. I have no problem making videos. I need more ideas on stuff like that because I like talking about things I know stuff about for sure. Like there's a lot of videos I can make, but I don't know exactly how certain things go. I know a lot of it, but I don't know certain things and exactly how a lot of things are done. So I don't make these videos because I don't want to give you guys bad information. So anyways, guys, till next time.